What's going on, guys? It's Mirwin. Today we're going to dissect my song, Throw Stones. So if you guys haven't been watching the YouTube channel, we have our series Dissect, inspired by podcasts on Spotify. They kind of go into the production, the backstory, the lyrics behind a bunch of different music and albums. So we just kind of took the idea and doing it for my music. So today we're going to be doing it for my new song called Throw Stones. This is the second single off of my new album called Strangers in the Dark, coming early next year. We're just going to get straight into it today. If you guys haven't listened to the song already, definitely encourage you guys to check that out. But you don't have to before you watch the rest of the video. If you haven't seen an episode of Dissect, we have 6 questions we ask about every song. So we're just going to get started today. First question is going to be, what's the heart behind the song? So for this song, Throw Stones, like I said, this is the second single from my next album, Strangers in the Dark, which is coming early next year. Kind of the heart behind this song is a little bit similar maybe to Better Things, but just a little bit different take on it. So obviously, this beat, kind of is still, stylistically a little bit in the same lane as Better Things, but it's a lot more chill, a little bit more relaxed, but it's still got some energy, so it's kind of a very interesting, juxtaposition. As far as the heart for this one, the heart of it really kind of is all in the hook as far as what the theme of the song is, and then, the verses just kind of reinforce that in different ways. So the hook, just kind of reading it off here, they're trying to throw shade my way, but I don't throw stones. Milk and honey, that's funny, you're talking about my soul. So this song is kind of inspired by my own experiences making music, especially just sharing it with people. Like I say, whether it's, when I first started out, or even just this year sharing on TikTok or sharing my music with people, whenever you're trying to create something, you're always going to encounter people who criticize it or whatever. So I think that this song is really kind of birthed out of those experiences, especially the ones where it's people I don't know, say TikTok comments, I kind of reference that in a different song in the album, people commenting on TikTok, oh, this is trash, whatever, the laugh emoji, whatever it is, it's cringe, whatever it is. So it's really birthed out of those experiences, and also where the experiences where it's people that I know who have told me that they didn't like the music, or, that, they didn't, believe in it, think that I would ever make it, things like that. So it's also birthed out of those experiences. So kind of the message of this song, like I said, the hook there, they're trying to throw shade my way, but I don't throw stones. So again, this is kind of a little bit maybe of a biblical reference. In biblical times in Israel, they had where stoning people was a thing. Jesus is talking about it in the Bible, and he has all the Pharisees or whatever. There's someone I think was accused of adultery or something, and the custom then was for them to get stoned and just throw stones at them. And Jesus says to them, whoever is without sin can throw the first stone, and they're all like, oh shoot, I also, I have problems too, so they don't do it. So this is kind of a little bit inspired by that idea of, all these people are trying to comment on, what I'm doing and what I'm creating, but I'm not going to retaliate with, them hating on me also with hate, which is also something I do literally with the comments. I just like their comment, I don't respond. So that's kind of a lot of what this song is birthed out of, is my reaction to those type of, those people, that maybe are hating on the music, hating on what I'm doing, and, just kind of my thoughts on that. So, even the verses kind of talk a little bit about, my thoughts about, people that maybe know me but don't, recognize what I'm doing with the music or what they think about me and my situation, different things like that. And also it kind of ends with the second verse of, my thoughts on, this is what I know I am and what I'm doing. So kind of all that to say, just kind of, this song really is just about my opinion on other people's opinion, So that's what the heart behind the song is. We're going to move on here. Second question is going to be, what's your favorite part lyrically? So for this one, like I say, I really, really like the beat. This is one of the first samples that I really found for this album that I thought was really dope. I love guitar. I thought the original song is also amazing. And I thought, just pitching it up and, what I thought I could do with the drums and the bass would be really dope, which it was. So I think some of my favorite parts lyrically here, I think some of my favorite lines, I think there's a couple lines in the first verse we'll talk about, and then we'll talk about the second verse. One line I really like here is the opening line for Brockhampton breakup. Now every day I wake up, somebody's got a problem with me. So again, just kind of referencing that, those situations on, social media, people commenting, things like that. But the thing I really like about this line that I thought was cool is this is a kind of my own take on a line Jay-Z had. I forget, I think it's on the song Heart of the City. I forget what the actual artist or thing he is, but he has a line like that. It's pretty much exactly like that. It's first something, break up, now every day I wake up. I forget what the exact line is, but I thought I was listening to the song around the time I was writing it, and I think I just wrote it in my notepad. I was like, this could be really dope. This was also, Brockhampton broke up after their last album, Roadrunner, and that's also a group that has really influenced me a lot and that I love. So I thought it was really cool to kind of include them and also do my own take on Jay-Z, who is also an artist that I really like, included in this song. So I thought that was really dope. I think this next section that I like here, I also had maybe just a little note. I also included kind of a second take on that line, like Cudi quit rap and I thank God he came back. So again, just kind of taking a little extension of that line as well, where it's kind of the same similar format. And also, Kid Cudi came out like a little bit this year and was like saying, I quit making music, which is also an artist I love, so I think it was cool just to include that as well and kind of reference him. We'll move on then to the next section here. Next section I really like is this line. I'm again tested by this 10 I'm texting. She says she likes her men older, now it's a bit excessive. I'm only 26, but lately I'm convinced retirement's around the corner if I don't hit a lick. So I thought this was a really cool line. This is one that I like when I started listening to the beat, kind of came a little bit quicker to me. But I think the thing I like about this line is it's cool. It's a little bit more of a storytelling type line. But I think it's cool because it kind of flips your expectations a little bit, or like just maybe doesn't go the way you expect. And again, this is kind of formed from my personal experiences. So my birthday's in a couple days when I'm recording this video, and I'll be turning 26. And I think, in this culture, it's so easy, especially, I work with a lot of people who are younger than me, high schoolers and stuff, to feel like, 26, it's over, I'm past my prime, I'm old now, all these different things. So I kind of went into those feelings a little bit and just kind of went in with the direction of talking to a girl, and kind of, that she likes her men older, now it's a bit excessive, kind of playing with that of like, 26 is like ancient to, younger people, I guess, sometimes, or we have that, mentality, but, also it's like, that's not that old, and then, the kind of that play there, retirement's around the corner if I don't make it big, basically, is what hit a lick means there. So I really like that line. We'll look at some of the lines in the second verse, because I think that's the one I like the most. I think the lines that I like the most, because like I say, I could talk about these forever. I think the two different sections I like the most, got a triple crown like the Preakness, and I ain't even close to my peak yet. And then the line after, you couldn't walk a meter in my shoes, then I wouldn't want you to try to. So the two different lines there. The first one, the line before that, writing hooks, beats, and verses, I've been working on my weakness. So the Preakness is a horse race thing. It's when you win, the Preakness is one of the horse races in the Triple Crown, which would be when you win the Preakness, Kentucky Derby, and I believe it's the Belmont Stakes. So, 3 different races, you win them all, you win the Triple Crown. So kind of playing with that, with the idea of hooks, beats, and verses, 3 different things. I thought that was kind of cool. Second one, you couldn't walk a meter in my shoes, and I wouldn't want you to try to. So again, kind of just, this verse is more so about, my confidence in myself despite what other people say. So this line here, kind of a little bit of a different take on, walk a mile in someone else's shoes. I say you couldn't walk a meter, which, in America, we use the stupid yards or whatever it is, but you couldn't walk a meter in my shoes, and I wouldn't want you to try to. So again, just kind of, I know why I've gone through what I'm doing, these people don't understand, so I thought that line was dope. And this last line here, vision steady like Freddy, but I ain't bleeding from the eye, I think I'm losing all control, I'll get a trophy before I die. So those 2 lines, very cool, I thought was dope. So Freddy, so I'm from Rockford, Illinois. Fred VanVleet is a high school player from around here who's in the NBA. He's on the Toronto Raptors. They won the NBA championship a couple years ago in 2019. So this line, steady like Freddy, that's one of his nicknames, Steady Freddy. And then bleeding from the eye, in one of those games in the finals, I think he got elbowed and he started bleeding right by his eye. So I thought that was a cool reference again, being from the same city that I am. And then the next line, I think I'm losing all control, I'll get a trophy before I die. So I thought that was really cool. You get a little bit of a wordplay there. So I think I'm losing all control, I'll get a trophy before I die. So atrophy, if you put A and trophy together, you get atrophy. Atrophy is when I believe you lose control of your muscles. So kind of that ties into the I think I'm losing all control line. Also, the way it's written, I'll get a trophy, so like winning an award before I die. So kind of you get a little bit of the connection between those two lines there. I thought that was pretty cool. And then yeah, I think that's like I said, I could talk about a lot of the other verses. The other thing I would say, just kind of broadly, is like my flow in the second verse a little more, how I was able to go a little more, attack the beat more, whereas the first verse is a little bit more chill and laid back. So yeah. Next question here is going to be, what's your favorite part musically? Like I said, a lot of this stuff, love the sample. I think my favorite part of the sample would be, I really like, we'll just talk about the moments in the song I like the most. So I really like when the beat drops at the beginning and you hear the sample playing, you got the 808, you got the drums, that moment's really dope. And the other moment I really like is the second verse, when the sample comes in there and then you got I believe it's a saxophone in the original, and it's pitched up, so it doesn't sound quite like a saxophone, it just sounds kind of cool and like maybe a little bit like detuned almost a little bit. So I really, and then the drums come in there and all that stuff. So I think those two moments are my favorite, basically just when the beat drops on the first verse and the second verse. Really love the sample. I think the drums again are really cool. You got some cool percussion going on in there. And then I love the vocals also from the sample. I think the vocals are really dope. I think those are my favorite parts musically. Next question here is going to be, how long did it take you to make? So for this one, I don't think it took me too long. Like I said, this is a sample that I had kind of in my folder for a little bit while I was thinking about making this album. So I knew what I wanted to do with the sample. I kind of had my sections picked out a little bit. I knew I wanted to use this for the hook, there and whatever. So I kind of knew what I was doing there already. Beat, I think the longest part of making the beat was doing the bass and getting the notes right, or as best as what I felt, made it work. So I think, how long did it take me to make? Again, it would probably be like a month or so, or maybe even a couple weeks. Because like I said, this is the second single, and I sent it to my engineer pretty much almost right away after we finished Better Things. So I think it didn't take me too long, probably like a couple weeks. So yeah. Next question is going to be, was there any musical inspiration for this song? So like I say, this album, I really want to make something more hip-hop, centered and true to my influences there. But I think the cool thing with this one is that it's got a lot of like kind of, and this is more so due to the sample itself, but it's got some R&B influence, which the original song has, so it makes sense that the sampled version of that would as well. But I think that was cool because that's also a genre that I really like. And I'm glad that I'm able to kind of incorporate that in there. It's got a little bit of kind of a jazz feel too, with just some of the chords they use and different things like that, which I think is also cool just because jazz is such a big part of hip-hop and its history, so I think it was really cool to be able to include that into this song. But I think that was mainly the main inspiration, was the sample. It's got some R&B and jazz influence, and just trying to bring that together and make it something that is also true to some of the hip-hop influence that I have and the different artists I've listened to. Next question here, and the last question, is going to be, what was the hardest part of making the song? So for this one, I think the hardest part of making the song, from the music point of view, was just getting the notes right for the bass. Again, this is the second beat and song that I made for this album. So I think, again, just getting used to trying to figure out what the correct notes are for the bass, working with, pitching it up, and then, finding the right notes, all that stuff. So I think that was, took a little bit more time, to figure out how to get right, especially since we have, like, two different sections sampled in the first verse, and then we have the verse in the second section, and figuring out what the notes were for that. So I think that took a little bit longer. I think otherwise, I think the other hardest part, I think, writing maybe the second verse took a little bit longer, just because, again, I'm attacking the beat a little bit more, and, the first verse is a little bit more laid back, a little more space, letting the beat breathe, so it was a little easier to write. So I think that those two things were probably the hardest, was just, writing the second verse, getting it, where, I'm just consistently, like, kind of going in, and then just kind of getting the beat right, musically, with everything being in key with the bass, for the verses. I think that is going to be it for this episode of Dissect, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't listened to this song or my single Better Things as well, we'll have links in the description for both of those. Definitely encourage you guys to check that out. I appreciate if you listen to it. It means a lot to me. Like I said, we got the new album coming out early next year, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss anything we're doing. Got a lot of different videos coming out. You know, we're always grinding. That is going to be it for this episode today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.